Hey guys, it's Theraband, physical therapist. In today's video, I'll go over a variety of exercises for the shoulder to strengthen the rotator cuff and the scapular muscles, so that way it will decrease the likelihood of problems in the shoulder for you. So you have 4 rotator cuffs. I'll show you guys with this model. This is the right shoulder. So you have the supraspinatus, the infraspinatus, the teres minor, and the subscapularis. The supraspinatus lives here, the infraspinatus lives back here, and underneath that you have the teres minor. All 3 of these come over and attach onto the humerus, the head of the humerus. That's right here. On the front, you have the subscapularis. The scapularis is the only rotator cuff that is on the front of the shoulder blade, and it comes over, becomes a tendon, and attaches to the front of the humerus. When your rotator cuffs work together, what they do is they provide stability to the shoulder. So you see how there's 1 that's here, and you have 3 that's back here. If they engaged and they pull, what happens is it pulls the head of the humerus towards the center of the socket, so it provides stability for the shoulder. When the rotator cuff is engaged individually, each one of them does different things. So when the supraspinatus works separately, it actually assists with the lift of your arm out to the side. It doesn't even lift it up this high, because after about 15 to 20 degrees or so, your deltoids take over and it does the rest of the work. It actually just starts the initiation. And this plane is called abduction, this motion right here in your arm. So that's what the supraspinatus does. So for your infraspinatus and your teres minor, those are your only 2 muscles that does external rotation, which is this motion here. That's usually where I find a lot of the dysfunction in the shoulders that I see in the clinic, along with the infraspinatus. But most people tend to be weak in their infraspinatus or their teres minor. Either one, they work in conjunction together, so we usually just call them the posterior cuff. And for the last rotator cuff, the subscapularis, the action of the subscapularis is internal rotation, which is this motion here, and that's the muscle that lived in the front. The scapular muscles are very important as well. The muscles that attach to the scapula, they help move the scapula. And if the scapula doesn't move, then what happens is the rotator cuffs will be strained. They kind of work in conjunction together, so the shoulder complex itself won't be dysfunctional. I will show you guys exercises for the rotator cuff and the scapular muscles to help bulletproof your shoulders. Alright, so the first exercise is called 4-way isometrics. I use this exercise a lot, especially for those who are in a lot of pain. So this exercise is primarily focused on your supraspinatus, your infraspinatus, teres minor, anterior delt, posterior delt. So basically muscles around the shoulder. You don't have to use a towel. The towel is more for comfort's sake. So I'm going to use a towel just because I just want to be comfortable. So number 1, what you're going to do, you're going to take the towel, bring your arm out to the side like this, about a fist length apart, and you're going to push in to the wall, and then you're going to hold it. So usually I tell people 10 seconds, 10 times. That's what we're holding it for. So you're working the subscapularis here because you're going into internal rotation, but then you're working it isometrically because the joint's not moving. So that's for the subscapularis isometric. So the next isometric is going to be for the infraspinatus and the teres minor. Again, you take the towel, get it against a wall or a door frame, about a fist length apart, and then you push out this way into external rotation. If you're doing this correctly, you should feel the muscles engage in your shoulder. They should tighten up. Hold it 10 seconds, again 10 times. Very similarly, like the previous one. So for your anterior delt, you basically punch into the wall. So use a towel, again, elbow about fist length apart, and then you just punch into the wall, and then you just hold it 10 seconds, 10 times. You should feel the muscles engage in the front of your shoulder. So what you're really doing is you're doing this, which is what the anterior delt does for you. But we're training the muscle in an isometric manner, so we're just punching into the wall here. And then the last one of the 4-way isometric is for the posterior delt, which is the muscle that's also back here as well. Again, get the towel here, get the elbow, again, about 90 degrees, and you're pushing backward into the door frame. Again, you're just holding that muscle engagement 10 seconds, 10 times. The next exercise, it's called Sideline external rotation. This is basically for your infraspinatus and your teres minor, so part of your posterior cuff. So with this one, you actually do need a towel, and the towel is just to give the rotator cuff a good amount of space for optimal activation. So what we're gonna do here, this is a 3-pound dumbbell, and you're just gonna have the dumbbell out to the side with the arm straight, and you're gonna bring it up, just like so, okay? When you're doing this, you don't wanna overly rotate where you're actually rotating your trunk. You wanna make sure your hip is stacked right on top of each other, and then it's just the shoulder that's rotating out, making sure you get that maximal activation from the posterior cuff there. And usually I have people do 2 sets of 15 with this, just like so. The next exercise is internal and external rotation with a Theraband. So with this one, you also need a towel as well too. It's just to give the shoulder optimal space for these exercises. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take a Theraband just like this. This is just a resistance band with a little bit of pressure on it. And from here, you're just gonna start making sure it starts with tension, and you're doing internal rotation, working on the subscapularis, just like this. And then if you turn around, facing the other way, you're working external rotation, just like this. Very similar to the Sideline ER for this one. The next exercise is called the Serratus Punch. The serratus anterior is a muscle that lives in the front of the shoulder blade. It's actually in front of the subscapularis. You can't see it on this model, but if you Google image it, it'll show you. It's basically a muscle that's responsible for protraction, and when it works in conjunction with the rotator cuffs, it actually helps upwardly rotate the scapula. And when it does that, it creates room to decrease the likelihood of impingement for the shoulder. If you're unfamiliar with impingement or you have impingement, I made a video on it and I'll attach it to the description below for your reference. But let me get started on the serratus punches so I can show you what that is. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay onto your back. Again, take a weight. This is just a 3-pound weight. If you can do heavier, do heavier. But if 3 pounds is too heavy, and again, kind of modify as needed. So what you're gonna do here, we're working on the right shoulder. You're gonna punch up. As you punch up, the exercise is actually that extra punch up towards to the ceiling. So that protraction of the shoulder blade. Here, hold it there for a little bit, and then retract the shoulder blade, keeping the elbow straight and the arm up like this. Punch up again, just like so. And then just hold it there for a couple seconds, and then retract. And then again, just like that, okay? That will get the serratus anterior, which is part of your scapular muscles, just like so. Next up, we have rows. Rows is a good exercise for scapular retractors, which then opens up our chest. A lot of the times, especially in this forward lean posture, people have this hunchback position. You want to strengthen the scapular retractors, which are the muscles that attach to the shoulder blade. Put your shoulders in a better position, so then you won't have shoulder problems down the road. For rows, again, it's very straightforward. You can have, again, like a resistant band like this. Take the elbow, keep it by your side, and you're just gonna pull backward. And as you pull backward, you're squeezing your shoulder blade and holding that there for a couple seconds, and then you release. And again, same thing. Pull, hold, couple seconds, and then release. And again, I usually have people do about 2 sets of 15 or for a total of 30. So the next exercise with a Theraband is actually called bilateral external rotation, which actually works again the posterior cuff, which is your infraspinatus and your teres minor, and it actually gets some of the lower trapezius as well. So again, you're gonna take a resistant band, palms up, okay, elbows out to your side, just like this, and you're gonna rotate out. As you rotate out, hold it there a little bit, squeeze the shoulder blade, couple second hold, and then release, and then repeat from there on out. This is actually also a great postural exercise, especially if you sit in front of a computer all day, or if you're doing a lot of paperwork and you're just sitting. This is just great to just open up the chest by strengthening the shoulder blade muscles in the back. For the last 4 exercises, are going to be all on your stomach. So that's prone I's, prone Y's, prone T's, and prone rows 90-90. Prone is just the position for you to be on your stomach. That's just the name of the position. So for those of you who don't have a table like this with a face cut out, what you can do is you can take a towel, put it on your forehead as you're facing down, so that way you have some breathing room between whatever surface you're laying on and your face. So what I mean is like this. Put a towel here on your forehead, and then you can do the exercises that way. That's one way you can do it. If you guys have the face cut out or you have a table, then you can pretty much just go ahead and use that. All right. So we'll start with prone I's. So with prone I's, your arms are out to the side, you're laying on your stomach, okay? Your thumbs are facing outward, so your shoulder is in an externally rotated position, and then you're gonna lift up from there. Hold it there, couple second hold, and relax, okay? And then again, repeating that with the number of reps that you wanna do. Again, usually for me, I get people to do this 2 sets of 15 for a total of 30. Either with weights or without weight, depending on where you're at. If you feel this is too easy, then go ahead and add a couple pounds of weight. You can use a dumbbell or so to kind of help progress that. But as you progress yourself up into T's and Y's, then those get a little bit harder, especially with weights. So speaking of T's and Y's, let's head right into that. So prone T's, your arms are out like this, just hanging. If you don't have a table like this, they can just be out. But the biggest thing with prone T's is I want your thumbs facing up towards the ceiling, meaning I want your shoulders externally rotated. So here, bring it up just like so, and then squeeze the shoulder blade. Hold it there for a couple seconds, and then relax. And then repeat, bringing it up just like so. Okay, again, if this is too easy, you can go ahead and use a dumbbell, couple pounds, depending on what you can tolerate. And again, I usually have people do this a total of 30 or 2 sets of 15. Okay, I do have some folks who can't do 2 sets of 15, so I just tell them to do 10. At the end of the day, you just want to work those muscles to fatigue, and everybody's a little bit different. So those are prone T's. So let's go into prone Y's. These are the hardest because these engage the lower trapezius, and for those with shoulder problems, usually lower traps are usually dysfunctional. At least that's what I find in my patients in the clinic. So again, you're facing down, just like so. You're in a Y position. And again, thumbs are up, and you're gonna lift, just like that. And then you're gonna bring it down. Again, you're lifting again. And again, you're trying to, what you're feeling for is engagement of the muscles in your mid-back. That's what you're really looking for. These are all parascapular muscles. These are all muscles that attach to the scapula, just like so. Okay? And then the next one is prone rows 90-90. So with prone rows 90-90, you're laying on your stomach. Again, arms out to your side. You're doing a row, which is a 90-degree here, and you're doing external rotation from there. So you're going like that. So that's why it's prone rows 90-90, and then you reverse the motion. And again, you can do this with dumbbells if this is easy for you, but just like so. And again, you don't want to shrug your shoulders when you're doing this, because when you shrug your shoulders, when you're engaging the upper traps, which is what you don't really want. You want to engage them in an appropriate manner, meaning you just don't want the upper traps to dominate this motion. So the lower traps are just as important as the upper traps. So here, and again, this prone row 90-90 focuses on activation of the posterior cuff as well. So just like so. Again, 2 sets of 15 if you can. These are all exercises for the rotator cuff and scapular strengthening. If you already have some shoulder issues and you're trying to do the exercises and these cause you pain, you would choose the ones that don't cause you pain. If you don't have any pain with these exercises, then you would do them to the best of your ability. If your shoulder is still giving you trouble, then please seek out your local physical therapist so they can further evaluate you in detail to see what's really going on with your shoulder. I see a lot of shoulders in the clinic, and I would say most, if not all of the shoulders that I see in the clinic have either some sort of rotator cuff dysfunction or scapular dysfunction or both. So I hope these exercises are able to help you out. If you have any questions, please leave in the comment section below. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.